here is 1,100 points of Orks for a special game that we're playing today. And here is what I have brought. So down here we have my HQ, which is a Warboss with Power Claw and a Boss Pole. He is joined with a Pain Boy standard, and they are in a squad of 4 knobs, 2 with Power Claws, others with just melee weapons. And over here for troops we have 3 squads of boys, varying in size. We've got at the back here we have a 30-man, a 30-man, and at the front here we have a 15-man. No Power Claws at all, so all melee weapons, so the knobs have got melee weapons as well. So yeah, we'll see how that fares.
And here we have my 1,100 points of Chaos. So looking at it here, we have got 7 squads of Khorne Berserkers, which are part of the Maelstrom of Gore. We've got all these squads here, 5 men each squad with power swords on the champions. Same there. This guy here, he's got dual lightning claws. Over here we've got an 8-man squad, and in this squad we've got a plasma pistol on one of the berserkers. The champion, he's got a plasma pistol and a lightning claw. And we've also got extra Lord of Chaos, Mark of Khorne, Sigil of Corruption. Oh no, sorry, no sigil, and dual lightning claws. So very nice. Like I said, all of it, bar this Chaos Lord here, are part of a formation. Formation itself is pretty deadly, and it should be quite entertaining. So let's have a look at the battle. So as the Orc settlement falls into chaos and the forces of the traitor Marines take control, an element of Khorne Berserkers under control of the Butcher's Nails have pushed further into the Orc settlement, cutting down fleeing Orcs. But as they do so, they come across an Orc Warboss who is trying to reactivate his stompa, his war machine, to get it back into the war. Will the Berserkers be able to fight back the waves upon waves of Orc infantry, or will they be dragged down into the green frenzy? Let's find out. So, as the Khorne forces flood onto the battlefield, lining up across this line here, coming all the way down there, they face off against the Orc Warboss and his retinue. Mass Orc mob over here. The objective for the mission is the Khorne forces have to kill this Orc mech before he can activate the stompa and either face the invading Chaos forces or pull back and fight another day. They have 5 turns to defend him. This Orc Warboss is pretty committed to it. He needs a stompa to face off against the invading Chaos forces. The Chaos forces have got some form of control still currently, as the Orcs are facing off against them. The Chaos forces are going to try their best to take on the mech, but they may get carried away in a blood frenzy and just slay, hack. So Chaos forces are going first. Let's have a look to see what they're going to do. Turn 1 movement for the Chaos forces, and as they've still got an element of control, the Chaos forces are pushing up, not going quite as fast as they normally would, but they're waiting for the Orcs to push back. So the Chaos forces all along here are pushing up. No one's running, everyone is in complete control of themselves. The nails aren't quite biting yet. So we're going to move on now. Turn 1 for the Orcs to see if they can do something nasty.
So turn 1 movement for the Orcs, and they have moved forward at great pace, inspired to go forward by the Warboss and charge straight into the enemy lines of Berserkers charging towards them, whipping themselves up into a frenzy as they charge over the wall here. And the Warboss has gone down, and he will probably be running forward as well to get as near to Khan as possible because he wants to kill him. And over on this side, this band of Orcs sees an early charge opportunity to smash into the lines, and I think they're going to try and take it. So let's see what happens in the shooting phase. So Orcs turn 1 shooting, and they have continued their charge up the table towards the Berserkers line. over here, a slightly smaller run, a little bit nervous about having a look at all those berserkers and seeing Khrone in the background there, probably knowing his reputation across the world. And the Warboss, in his eagerness to get towards the fight, has tripped off the battlements and only moved a few more inches after his movement. The other squad of boys coming through here have charged through the gap as far as they could, trying to get past the stompa, but unfortunately tripping up on their own bodies and as they crush themselves through the gap there. And finally over here, the big shooter let fly at the berserker squad over there, didn't do any wounds. However, they're now preparing to charge into their ranks. Let's move on to the assault phase. So in the Ork assault phase, the boss knob charged in and challenged the sergeant in the squad. Unfortunately, he met his demise to the bloody lightning claws. However, the boys got their revenge and managed to kill off them after in the second part of the combat, killing off 2 of them. However, we suffered casualties and then we had a little squabble because we got scared and tried to run away. However, we beat ourselves in submission and we're staying in the fight. So now we'll move on to Chaos turn 2.
Turn 2 for the Chaos Forces, and the nails are screaming. They're screaming kill, maim, burn. The Chaos Forces are getting closer in. There's going to be a lot of blood this turn. The Chaos Forces, of course, with the formation, add extra distance to their charge. And as you can see across the battlefield here, the Chaos Forces are slowly losing control of their free will. The nails are taking control. They can see the Orks, and they are going to rend the Ork flesh. So let's move on to turn 2 shooting for Chaos. Turn 2 shooting for Chaos, and the nails are causing twitches in the berserkers. They can't aim, they're too much of a frenzy now. They're charging in. So we're going to move on to turn 2 assault for Chaos, and hopefully the Blood God will be pleased. Turn 2 assault for the Chaos Forces, and over here the Ork mob that was engaged in combat was overrun as another squad of berserkers came in. Chainswords howling, they hacked apart the Orks. Over here, another squad engaged the Orks here, managed to do some damage. The champion issued a challenge, and of course the Ork Knob accepted. Unfortunately though, the Ork Knob failed and lost his head to the Berserker champion. Still locked in combat there, the fight continues, but over across the battlefield, Khrone finally got in combat. Khrone with this squad and this squad here both charged into the 30-man Ork mob, did a decisive amount of damage and killed off over 20 Orks fell to Khrone and his retinue. Unfortunately then the Orks failed as their Ork Knob also accepted the challenge and was decapitated. They fell back and were hacked apart, so the nails are kicking in, the berserkers are charging. Khrone and the remains of his squad can now see the Warboss on the other side of this fortification. We're going to move on now to Orks turn 2 to see if that Warboss is brave enough to face the betrayer.
So here we are, Orks turn 2 in the movement phase, and the Warboss, having seen his big unit of boys completely decimated, he has a little quiver but thinks he's got to charge in and smack some heads. So he's heading for Khan's squad right now. Doesn't know how it's going to turn out, but he's going to give it a good damn bashing either way. And over here, obviously this squad's still locked in combat with these 3 berserkers. Hopefully they'll rally and completely destroy them this turn to give them a little bit of a fighting chance around the stompa. So now we move on to the shooting phase to see if the boss's squad can take out a couple of the Marines before he charges into Khrone. See you in the shooting phase. So the boss's squad randomly fired through the archway and did nothing in their frantic shooting to try and down a marine before they charged. So now we'll head on to the assault phase and see how they do against Khan's squad. So down here, the Warboss's squad managed to get in with Khan, got dirty, got nasty, a lot of feel no pain rolls, saving some lives of the Orks there, and finally Khan fell. The Warboss got him on his own and managed to put a claw through him. I don't think he's dead though, he's run off, or been carried off by his berserker friends as the battle ensues here. And down over here, this combat did not go well for the Orks. We only killed one, however they only killed one, but we're locked in combat and that large mob is starting to get rather rowdy in that little gap down there. So we'll see how things occur in Chaos turn 3.
Turn 3 movement for the Chaos forces, and all these forces here, they're all pushing up towards the remaining Orks here. This squad coming around on the flank, hoping to do a flank charge to assassinate the mech and butcher the greenskins. Over here, enraged by the defeat of Khan, the rest charge forwards after favour for the Blood God to avenge his potential death. Also in the Chaos movement phase, we did the Red Rain special rule for the Berserkers, which is, in the movement phase, you get to do a pile-in and an attack as if it is your assault phase, and the Orks unfortunately aren't able to fight back, and the only thing that happened was this champion killed 2 more Orks. So let's move on to shooting and assault. Turn 3 assault for Chaos, and over here another squad charged in to the fray. Chainsaws, choppers up in the air, blood pouring everywhere. The Chaos Marines managed to inflict heavy casualties on the Orks. The Orks slowly pushing back against the barricade at the back there. The Orks at the back pushing back and making sure they don't get murdered. So they're still holding their ground here. Elsewhere across the battlefield, the Warboss was charged. He was charged by another squad of Berserkers. Berserkers losing 3 more. The champion on the previous squad has gone and 2 more of this squad have gone. Although they did do a lot of damage to the Orks here. So the Pain Boy has lost a wound, the Warboss has lost a wound, the Knob has lost a wound, and the Knob that was in the challenge fell to the champion of Chaos. So the Warboss holding his own. These Berserkers will definitely need some form of backup in the next couple of turns if they are to last. Moving on now to turn 3 for the Orks. See if they can fight back.
And turn 3 assault for the Orks, and yes, that's right, looking here you can see the Warboss has had another lucky escape. Lots of feel no pains were achieved, and even the Pain Boy managed to kill 2 Marines himself by injecting him with poison. So good luck to them as they move on to the next round, with combat probably coming up from this side of the battlements this time. And in here, this melee still goes on as the blood pools on above their feet and they have trouble walking around and trying to get towards the enemy. So now we'll see what happens in Chaos turn 4.
Turn 4 for Chaos, and another squad of Berserkers are charging in. The Blood God has obviously challenged them. They need to take out this Ork Warboss, his power claw covered in Berserker blood. Clearly this is going to be the squad that takes him out. Across the battlefield by the Stompa, the other Chaos Lord is charging in as well. He's with another squad there, and possibly the Lord might split off and assault into the Warboss there. Elsewhere over here, the pile-in continues. More Berserkers are charging in. The squad at the back, unable to do anything, shouting, frothing at the mouth, wanting to get engaged in combat, but currently unable to. So we're going to move straight on now to turn 4 assault for Chaos. Blood for the Blood God. Turn 4 assault for the Chaos forces, and over here this fight continues. The Orks being cut down in greater numbers. Only 5 of the boys remain. This Chaos Champion at the front with the Power Sword killed off another 2 Orks. He's been hacking through greenskins throughout this conflict and really taking a bloody toll upon the Xeno forces. Moving across over here, the Lord and his squad, also the squad over there, charged into the Warboss and caught him in the doorway from both sides and hacked him apart, leaving just a green mess and a power claw on the floor. The blood god favours the brave. So let's move on now to turn 3 for the Orks and see if the boys can hang on. So at the end of turn 4 for the Orks, the last remaining boys have fallen and the Khrone berserkers have taken the settlement and have taken the stompa. The settlement is coated in blood and gore. The berserkers are still in a frenzy now, fighting amongst themselves until the butcher's nails settle down. Ork forces, what remains of them, have fallen into the jungle around this Ork settlement on Mazdrozz. The Chaos forces are now occupying the settlement and landing more and more troops down. They're going to claim this planet unless the Orks can do something quite significant in the future to push them back. But for now, Mazdrozz is now a Chaos planet. It will be a part of the ruinous powers. So until next time, this is Dom and Tom from BlackToad Studios. Thank you very much for watching.